originally from El Paso, Texas, born and raised. I mean, in elementary school, I was always way more into hanging out with girls. I mean, I was raised with 3 older sisters, and so, and my dad was always working, and so I was always around just like females in my family. So I was kind of socialized a little bit more feminine. And I guess, yeah, I mean, in elementary school, I think when I was around like 9 or 10, I started to, I guess, realize that my male best friends were kind of stirring a little bit more of like feelings in me that were not just like necessarily platonic. I don't think I really knew what the word for that feeling was when I was that young.
The language to describe what I had been feeling was presented to me. I think I met somebody who like identified as gay, and I think even then, like, I knew that I was interested or attracted to men. There's been a lot of development since. I mean, I've had a lot of experiences that would open my mind as far as like my own gender identity. But back then, sure, I mean, I was like, okay, maybe I'm gay. I think I struggled actually with identifying as such because I grew up in a pretty traditionally Mexican religious household. Tried many times to be in relationships with girls. When I was in middle school, I was dating this one girl, and then this guy like wrote me this cute letter saying that he thought it was cute and blah blah blah, and like that's when I was like, ooh, maybe I'm into this guy because I think he's cute. And so like we kind of started talking, and so I guess like he was the first person that I like told that I was interested in men, because I responded to his letter saying like, hey, I think you're cute too, like blah blah. I think from that point like rumors just spread all over, but I was still trying to like conceal it or just like be really, you know, hush hush about it. Full disclosure, I think I was in middle school when it was after this guy had told me that he thought I was cute and whatever, and I was like curious about exploring more about homosexuality. I like was looking at porn one day, I think, and then like and like I think like my sister saw like some history or like caught me or something, and they were like, does your girlfriend know? Like, what the heck? They were like freaked out and stuff. So like slowly, I guess, like word started getting up, but I tried to fix it, and at some point around that time, I became really, really invested in religion to try to kind of like hide it more the best way that I could by saying that I was committed to God and that I knew that like being gay was wrong and that it was all about the Bible, blah blah blah. So yeah, I mean, I guess I don't have like a definite answer in terms of like who knew first, but I guess it was like around that time and like that group with that boy and then like my sisters and but I mean that's before then, I guess I was, because I had been socialized with all these girls. I think that and I was like this like nerdy bookworm that was not at all into sports and not hyper masculine like most of my peers. I mean, I was always like taunted in school like by my classmates and also by like even teachers at school, like in elementary school and stuff. So like I guess people always sort of like suspected. I think at one point when I was like 15 or so or 14, I was around that time when I was dating probably like the third girl that I was trying to be straight with, trying to fool myself essentially. When I realized that I was really not just fooling myself, but I was hurting other people by like, making them think that this was, something that I wanted and that I was really interested in them. I think at that point I made the decision to really just decide like what I was gonna like identify as and what sort of label I was gonna put on myself, because I never felt comfortable with labels. I always just knew like I like men, like maybe I like girls, I don't know. I'm trying to like lead this like heterosexual life, so I can't label myself as gay. But when I realized that, I just thought, like, I'm just gonna make a decision here right now. Like, it's easier for everyone, I think, to just kind of like put myself in this box as like this gay man and just follow this pathway. I think I always sort of led a double life because my good friends always knew that even though I was trying to like put up this front, like they knew that I was at that point identified as gay. And when my family found out, because I didn't come out to them, they actually found out because my mom found like some letters that my boyfriend had been writing to me. I mean, you know, back in the day, I had a full drawer with letters from my first real serious boyfriend at the time. I was like 15. My mom read them, and like I remember like she picked me up from school, and my sister tells me, "You're in trouble," and I'm like, "Whoa, why?" My mom found something in your drawers or whatever, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm sorry." So she found them, and I don't even know what happened afterward. Like I think that's just like the strongest memory of that occasion that I have. Like I don't even know the conversation that I had with my mom afterward. I don't remember much, but I do remember she told me that I couldn't do this to her. She's like crying, like sobbing, "You can't do this to me, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, that's when I decided, I was like, no, Mom, like, God changed me. Like, I'm not like this anymore. And like, this is just the thing that I thought I was, but I wasn't. I'm not anymore. And like, I think she like must have chosen to believe it just for her own sanity. I mean, like, understandably, like her life was pretty rough at the time, but I mean, that doesn't justify like her blaming whatever was going on in her marriage on me. But yeah, I mean, that's sort of how things were left for a while. Like after I convinced her that I was so devout and like super Christian. I can't remember if after. No, I didn't try to date any of them. Yeah, I did actually. I tried to date one more girl after that, and then I think that's when I decided like, yo, like this girl is like really head over heels over you, and like I think that's when I decided like, nah, I can't. But this was like later. So anyway, so around like this whole time, like from then until like from the time I convinced my mom that I was no longer gay, that God had cured me and whatever, I convinced her that this was happening, but she's like, she still wanted to take me to this pastor and talk about being gay and whatever. I just kind of like left it silent and like I didn't touch the subject. And I think that's when I started really leading this like completely two different lives. Because I was pretty openly gay with my friends after that, and I talked more openly about these experiences. I was just starting to get more comfortable with like my friends knowing that I was into men, and like they were super supportive, and I think that's when I started really focusing my attention and my energy toward building a close, like a supportive group with my friends, where I guess felt that I didn't count on that with my family. As a side note, besides like my mom's reaction, one of my sisters is like, who's like not even a whole year older than me. When she found out, she like super freaked out, and like we used to be like really close. We were almost like twins. Like we shared everything because our birthdays were super close to each other, like 2 days apart. Like we did everything together. And then when she found out, like she really freaked out, and that like completely just butchered our relationship for many years. And so yeah, like I couldn't count on my family at all for support, and so like I started building my chosen family with my friends, and so I had boyfriends and all of that. They knew all about them. I was, you know, hookups every now and then. Like they knew about that too. Like they met my boyfriends. Like I took one of my boyfriends to prom, I think, 1 year, and like my family was still like none the wiser, I guess, or maybe just willfully blind. Yeah, so I guess it wasn't until like after I graduated from law school that I started being really open about like my sexuality with my family. I think that my biggest fear was that my family was going to treat me as just like this like maricon, right? Like this gay dude that like, you know, and nothing but. And I was always super smart in school and like really, dedicated to academics and like really I was participating in everything in school. And I was like, I graduated at the top of my class and all of that. So like I really tried to prove to my family that I was more than that. But it took years, right? Because I think that I was afraid that they would still be worried, and I don't know. Like I think there was fear of like being cut off in terms of like financial support and just all of that. And so I guess I waited until I was self-sufficient and until I had, reached this point where there could be no question about like my abilities to succeed as a human being in society. It was at that point that I started talking about my relationships with men, with my mom actually. She knew, she's just like always super silent about it, and like never said anything. When I was in law school, I was dating this dude for like the whole 3 years I was in law school, and she met him. I never told her that he was my boyfriend or my partner, but like she met him. He stayed at my house. Like we stayed in the same bedroom one night, even though I tried really hard not to, because like we had 2 bedrooms and like I made him sleep in another room, and he got really, really upset. So the following day we slept together. Things were fine. And I think it was after that that like I was like, yeah, like he's. I didn't like openly say like yes, he's my boyfriend, but like it was understood at that point.